Alrighty, good morning everyone. It is Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021, and we're going to get started with our pre-market analysis for the S&P 500 futures market. So we're going to jump up to our ultra high time frames here and take a look at the picture, see if anything has changed. You can see that this 3-month or quarterly bar no longer has that bearish look to it, so things are starting to change here. Same thing on the monthly, things look pretty strong. Again, no indications of exhaustion on this push up from a divergence perspective. When we get to our weekly, that's where we had our bearish indications. We've gone over this for probably weeks now, so don't really need to talk about that. But this new bar, you can see here, if we do go up and create a new all-time high, we will have a bullish engulfing bar here. Very, very strong indication. I don't have, outside of the bearish indication off of the previous weekly bar, I don't have any other indications of exhaustion. And on the flip side of it, I don't necessarily have any indications for some type of bounce or bullish continuation off the low right now. But if we do get this nice bullish engulfing bar at the end of the week, that could be a good sign for higher on the S&P 500. Let's take a look at our daily chart here. So we had that bullish indication, remember, from the low that we made on Monday. And from there, we have continued to push here. This new candle formed from yesterday did not necessarily give us any clear divergence indication so far, and the current candle, same situation as that. So right now, things do look pretty strong here, but we have this all-time high up here at 58.25 to contend with on the push higher. Again, I don't necessarily have any signs of exhaustion in the current push here from a daily perspective. So things look pretty strong. Let's go down to our 4-hour. And so the 4 hours where we start to get some indications of exhaustion up here. Just into the close of yesterday, we did get a bearish indication from a divergence perspective here. And looks like they did pull back from 45 down to about 35, so about a 10-point pullback from that indication. And then they turned and continued going, and then we got another bearish indication in the overnight session at the overnight high. So our overnight high is up at 48.25, and from that point we did get another bearish exhaustion pattern, and from 48.25 pulled back to just about 30, so almost 20 points there on that pullback. And right now, just looking at where we are with everything, I don't have any indications on this most recent candle, which will close in about 50 minutes now. That's 50 minutes. So a lot of time for this to develop. So right now, all we really have to go off of is a slight bearish divergence here off of the overnight high on the 4-hour perspective. We jump down to our 60-minute, and we actually have the same indications as the 4-hour. We had a few bearish indications here in the overnight. We had the bearish indication off the overnight high. And now off the most recent bar that closed at 6 a.m. Pacific here, we did get another bearish indication from that high that we made here on this bar around 42.42. So if they don't get above 42.42, that bearish indication will hold here from this hourly perspective. The 4-hour does not have enough resolution to see inside this bar to see that indication. So right now we'll have to see if our intermediate time frames agree with what this is saying here. And remember, on this new bar, which has another about 50 minutes to complete here, we very well could go ahead and push up and break that. And then if you look at RVI here, if I could maybe zoom in, this could potentially just do something like this and actually close up here, right? Come all the way up, and then price pushes higher, and we won't even have any bearish indications there. So we might not want to read too much into that unless every other time frame is showing it, and then that will just be a nice condition for the morning here, that we need to either stay below, and if we break above, we have one more level to contend with, and then it looks like it will be back off to the races. So let's take a look at our intermediate time frames and see what they're saying here. So the 30-minute did have, again, another bearish indication off of that overnight high. Let's see here. Yeah, right around the overnight high within a tick or two, we got the bearish indication on the 30-minute. So lots of agreement from up there. So that's going to be an important level to watch there this morning. And then currently, I don't necessarily see the same bearish indication that we saw on the 60-minute. So that makes me a little skeptical because we didn't necessarily see anything on the 4-hour. We don't see anything on the 30-minute. We only see it on the 60-minute. So that doesn't seem like it's going to necessarily hold and follow through here. But remember, anything's possible. And then all we can go by are the signals that we have right now. So right now, no agreement on the time frame below and above the 60-minute on the little bearish indication over here around 42.25. So this 30-minute does have the bearish indication off the all-time high, or I'm sorry, off of the overnight high. And then currently off of the low that we made in the overnight, I don't necessarily see anything too bullish over here. So right now, the only indication from the 30-minute chart is some bearishness off of the overnight high, which was 48.25. Let's jump into the 10-minute here. And again, outside of just looking, the all-time high here did not give us a bearish indication. So just looking at some of these other... So we did get a bearish indication just like on the 30-minute, just in front of it. So if you look at these two peaks here, pretty clear bearish divergence there off of, and that high was 47.75. So they came up and they broke it by 2 ticks and then fell. And so pretty much we have bearish indications off of the highs here on a lot of the time frames. So let me just go back to my 4-hour. Yeah, so we have a 4-hour, a 1-hour, a 30-minute, and a 10-minute bearish indication from the overnight high. We do have to keep in mind that we broke down from 48 all the way to 30. So we did get about an 18-point pullback. And so that could be all that we get here with that indication. That's pretty much where we're at. A lot of bearish indications off the overnight high. So the condition for this morning is going to be bearish unless we can break above the overnight high at 48.25. And that's only because I don't necessarily have the strongest bullish indications off the overnight low. Something I forgot to point out, and I should have when we were looking at the 10-minute here, is that if you look at the most current leg, so remember we had that double bottom yesterday, and this is where I said if we can hold above 05.75, which happens to be our previous daily low for today, if we could hold above that, then things were going to indicate some bullishness in the market. And sure enough, we came down and tested 05.75 to the tick and then had this huge push out of that area. If you look at this leg from 05.75 to our overnight high at 48.25, look where we pulled back to and bounced from. Right off the 38% retracement. And if we look back to the previous day's price action, what was the high there? 31.75. You see that swing high? We came down and bounced at 30.75. So came down just a point beyond that high there, that wick you can see from from Tuesday, and bounced. So we had two really nice things lining up there. Got the bounce. We even had a prediction point that was posted in the afternoon yesterday. So sometime around over here that lined up exactly with both of those things. So a lot of nice confluence in that zone or that level, and we got the bounce just 1 point below it and are now up, let's say, about 10 points from there. Now on the 10-minute, what I neglected to see here is we do have a little bit of bearishness as well right now. If we stay below, is that 42 quarter? Yeah, so that 42, I must have had that off by a tick on the other chart. So 42, we do have the bearish indication from that 42 high, which actually agrees with that 1 hour indication. So we'll have to kind of keep in mind that holding below 42 will be somewhat of a bearish indication this morning. So from a retracement perspective, also kind of looking here, guessing this is just about a 61.8 retracement. Yep. So notice that in the overnight here, let me just erase this other retracement and zoom in here. From the overnight high to the low where we bounced, look where we found resistance, right at the 61.8 retracement. And then if we look back to price, look where we bounced, right here at 41 even. So we broke that by 1 point and broke the 61.8 by 2 ticks, and now are pulling back. So again, just another case for why I like my my retracement levels.